Good evening. I'd like to call the City of North Augusta City Council meeting for November the 18th, 2024 to order. It's great to see everybody. Great turnout. It's very nice. You're welcome to join me in prayer. Dear God, we continue to ask for your guidance. We ask that you'll give us discernment to make the best decisions for the citizens of North Augusta. We ask for your blessings as we strive to honor you in our roles as elected officials. Amen. If able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll have roll call starting from my left.
David McGee.
Pat Carpenter.
Britton Williams.
Jennifer McCauley.
David Buck.
Kevin Toole.
Okay, approval of minutes, item number 4. Are there any corrections, deletions, or additions to the regular City Council meeting minutes of November the 4th, 2024? All right, hearing none, they stand approved as distributed. Thank you. Okay, this is a great, this is the highlight of our meeting tonight. So let me tell you how we're going to do this. I'm going to read, we're giving 6 proclamations out tonight to citizens who deservingly risked their lives to save another one of our citizens the morning of the hurricane. So, and we have the proclamation, and what I'm going to do though is I've got a little bit more in-depth backstory that I want to share. Most of this is in the proclamation, but I want to give you just a little better perspective of what these folks did. And then I'm going to have council will come around. Then I'm going to call Officer Golden, those folks, citizens that come forward to the dais, and we will give them each the proclamation. We can recognize them. So that's kind of how we'll do this. So let me tell you about what happened around 6:45 a.m. on September the 27th, 2024. One of our fantastic own PSO officer, Sergeant Golden, began taking calls on foot in the Hammond Hill neighborhood due to his patrol vehicle being damaged by Hurricane Helene, and there being no access to the neighborhoods via roadways. Dispatch advised Sergeant Golden of an elderly male pinned in his bed by a fallen tree on the 3rd story of a residence located at 716 Hammond Drive. Sergeant Golden began making his way through the heavy debris toward the residence when he was met by a civilian whom he knew, Matthew Turner. After learning of the nature of the call and knowing Sergeant Golden had no help nor any way to get resources to the patient, he stated he wanted the help. As Sergeant Golden and Mr. Turner made their way toward the residence, Mr. Turner was able to recruit 4 more civilian men to assist in the matter and a civilian nurse. Upon arrival to the residence, family members directed Sergeant Golden and company to the patient, 94-year-old Don Hostetler, and his daughter is here, Karen Mays, who was trapped in his bed under an estimated 3-foot in diameter hardwood tree. The tree was lying on the house in such a manner that the trunk smashed through the roof and ceiling, almost crushing the patient under broken structural members, roofing materials, and tree debris. At first glance, Sergeant Golden could not tell if there was a person under the debris or if they were alive. They were eventually able to carefully remove enough debris to be able to make contact with the patient. During the group's attempts to free the patient, random high wind gusts would strike the tree from the exterior, causing it to shift and for more debris to fall from the ceiling. At one point, a wind gust blew strong enough to make the tree unsettle, causing large cracking noises to be heard from the structure. At that point, Sergeant Golden recognized just how dangerous the situation was due to the strong possibility of further structural collapse. Sergeant Golden instructed the civilians present with him to exit the room and find a safer location for fear of imminent great bodily injury or death that might occur to them. They each refused, stating they would leave when the patient was freed. Through slowly removing broken structural members, the main portion of the section of the roof that was pinning the patient to his bed was revealed. Sergeant Golden and 2 of the civilians lifted up on a section of the roof while the other 3 men were able to free the patient from his bed. Mr. Hostetler was evaluated by a nurse, Ashley Raskin, who was on scene and sustained only minor injuries. As of November 16, 2024, Mr. Hostetler told Chief Johnson that he was recovering well from his injuries. It is of Sergeant Golden's professional opinion that had these civilians not assisted him that day, timely recovery of the patient would not have been possible. As such, the patient would have eventually been suffocated by the debris, pressing down on him, ending his life. Okay? So, absolutely amazing. So, what I'd like is, so, council, why don't y'all come around behind me? And do. Okay. All right. So here's what we're going to do. Officer Golden, you come on. You come up here too. And Chief Johnson wants to stand next to you. You stand right there by Miss McCauley and Chief Johnson. All right. First person we're going to bring up, Matthew Turner. Come on down, young man. Congratulations, sir. Thank you. Okay. So Matthew, this is the proclamation I just read, and what I did not read is what this says at the end is, now therefore I, Britton S. Williams, on behalf of the citizens of the city of North Augusta, with sincere and heartfelt gratitude, do hereby recognize and honor you and call upon all citizens of the city of North Augusta, South Carolina, to express their appreciation to these citizens for their selfless act of heroism. I have hereunto set my hand and cause a seal of the city of North Augusta, South Carolina, to be affixed this 18th day of November, 2024. Okay? So what I'm going to have you stand right over there. Okay, where's Billy Holson back? Come on down, sir. Let's give him a round of applause. Got a sharp blazer on there, too. All right. Thank you, bro. Yes, there you go. And that's the same thing. Okay. All right. Daniel Holson back. Where's Dan? Is that your brother? All right, come on down there, brother. Are you the big or the little brother? Younger. There you go, sir. Okay, that's awesome. Okay, we've got, this is a husband and wife duo, and I believe Ashley is the nurse, but Ryan and Ashley Raskin, where are they? Are they here? There they are, look right in front of you. Good to see you. All right, let me read you. Okay. And then last one, Matthew Berry. Where's Matt Berry? I know Matt Berry. Woo! Matt and my son Hampton grew up together, good friends. Man, he's going to be proud of you. Matt, good job, man. Appreciate it, brother. That's awesome. Okay. And then I do want to invite this young lady up. This is Karen Mays. Karen is actually the secretary at Grace United Methodist, but it was her father, Mr. Hostetler. Karen, you want to come on up? I'll let you stand up here, too. I want you to give you a chance to say, yeah, come on up. Yeah, come on up. Hey, tell me your name. Eva. All right, so good to see you. So good to see you. Oh, okay. Oh, what are you doing? Yeah. Now, I've been to a few Christmas parties with Mr. Hostetler. He's a good man. Hey, he's all right. He's sharp. That's great. Okay. Yeah, I'll pass that around. That's amazing. Yeah. Okay. Oh, wow. Wow. That is unbelievable. Okay. So anyway, what I like to have just, if y'all would, Matt, you go first. Go through. I want council to be able to shake your hand and thank you for your service. And let me tell you, everything's good with your dad's good right now.
He walked out of there with only bruises, and he is in North Carolina right now with my sister Lisa.
Okay.
So, but he's had no problems.
Okay. Let's give this whole group a round of applause again. And then if we would, after y'all, Mac, you start, you go through and shake council's hand, then y'all stand up here and we're gonna get a picture. Yeah, once you get there. We're just swinging the line through. I like it. That's good. Hey, come on. All right, you get right here. We're gonna get a picture. All right. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. This is Eva, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Wait till they go through there. Anything you want to say to them, I'll be glad. Okay. Y'all come over. Let's come. Eva, you come over here. You. Okay. Y'all you stand next to her. We'll get y'all on the line here. All right. This is Miss Hosteller's daughter. Just wanted to say. Granddaughter.
I was there that night when it happened, and it was absolutely terrifying. Being, helpless for 3 hours and not having anyone come, and then finally having people come and rescue him, and it was just such a relief to see strangers in the house because I was like, maybe they know what to do. So I just want to thank y'all from the bottom of my heart, honestly. Like, y'all saved his life. Y'all absolutely are the reason that he is okay right now. So I just wanted to thank y'all from the bottom of my heart.
That's awesome. All right, you want get a picture of everybody? Oh, Elizabeth, it should be front page. Just get cover of the paper on it. Everybody come together. Get them in. Y'all get in closer. Y'all ain't getting closer. How about that? Get them in. Are we good? All right, let's give one round of applause.
You see what North Augusta is all about right now.
Amen. I like it. All right, we're going to jump right into old business. All right, item number 6, election, ordinance number 2024-24, complying with sections 10-1, 10-2 of the Code of Laws of North Augusta, South Carolina, by setting the dates for municipal party primaries, conventions, and partisan general election and special election, times for filing of nominating petitions, certification of candidates by parties, and certification of candidates by Municipal Election Commission. Do I have a motion to approve this ordinance on second reading?
So moved.
All right, Mr. Buck, thank you.
Second.
All right, Mr. Toole. Anything you'd like to share about this, Ms. Clifford?
Would actually like to defer comments to our city clerk, Jamie Paul, on this item, as would for number 7, both of those under election.
Okay. This is for the upcoming spring election in 2025 to be run on April 29th. The primary would be run on would be held on February 11th if needed, along with the party, because we are partisan municipality. Party primaries or conventions shall commence at 9 a.m. on December 16th and end at noon on December 23rd. Entries shall be made to the chairperson of their respective parties.
Right. Okay. Very good. All right. Are there any citizen comments? Any council discussion?
Yes,
Okay.
because I wasn't here last week.
Okay. Yeah.
So when is the filing that we have to file?
December 16th
December 6th.
through the 23rd, right?
In that, is this through Mr. John Felak? Would go to you to file?
If you're Republican.
Republican,
Democrats will go through the Democrat Party.
Right. But if there's no need for a primary,
You can go to a general election.
we go straight to the general.
Yep. Okay. Any other council discussion? All right, good questions. All right, here none, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor? That is unanimous. Very good, thank you. Okay, and really, these kind of three all come together, but anyway, still three different ordinances. Item 7, ordinance number 2024-25, to partner with the Aiken County Board of Registration and Elections to conduct a portion of the 2025 City of North Augusta Municipal General Election and Special Election. Do I have a motion to approve this ordinance on second reading? All right, Mr. McGee, thank you. Is there a second? All right, Ms. Carpenter, appreciate it. Anything in addition we need to know about this, Ms. Paul?
I just want to clarify, for the election, it's
Yeah.
going to be for mayor, 3 open seats for council members that are coming up to term, and then 1 unexpired term.
Right.
For a council
Okay.
member.
Are there any citizen comments? Any council discussion? All right, here now, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor? I think that's unanimous. Good. Okay, well, done there. Number 8 is a separate one. My bad. Planning and Development, ordinance number 2024-26, amending Articles 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 14 of the North Augusta Development Code, Chapter 18 of the City of North Augusta, South Carolina Code of Ordinance. Do I have a motion to approve this ordinance on second reading?
So moved.
All right, Ms. McCauley, thank you. Mr. McGee is second. And anything you'd like to share about this, sir?
Mr. Mayor and Council, just as a reminder, this is a series of text changes to the development code. This has been reviewed by the Planning Commission, by our Planning Department, Mr. Tommy Paradise. It was discussed at length in study session. This is the second reading of this request, and our staff opinion remains unchanged. We'd like to see if this would be voted on by the council positively.
Okay. Are there any citizen comments? Any council discussion? Okay. Here none, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you. All right, item 9, resolution. This is under new business. Resolution number 2024-53, authorizing expenditure of coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds. Expenditure request 13. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
All right, Mr. Buck, thank you. Second? All right, Ms. Carpenter. And anything you'd like to share about this, Mr. Clifford?
Yes, Mr. Mayor and Council, and for our citizens watching and here in the audience tonight. We did not discuss this in the study session, so I wanted to take an extra moment and walk you through the strategy of what this resolution would do, and what actions that would take on the follow end of this. And so, bottom line is, we had our finance director and our other directors go through and scrape all of the unspent ARPA money out of the various projects that they had. We usually build contingency into projects to make sure we have money that's available, and plus we had set aside some money for some other projects that just weren't able to be accomplished in a certain time frame. And so what we're left with right now is 2 different bins, if you want to call it, within ARPA. And so if the council members will remember, early on when the SLORF fund was dictated to the municipalities from the federal government, you had the ability to take almost like what I would describe in a tax ledger as a standard deduction of $10 million for revenue replacement. And so the $10 million was taken by this city council to go into revenue replacement, and that portion, the revenue replacement portion of ARPA, has the most amount of flexibility. So, for example, we bought a trolley with that. We bought 2 fire trucks with that. We bought a number of items that were, city items, but weren't necessarily under the very tight rules and restrictions with the top line of ARPA, which I'll discuss here in a minute. So you have leftover money in the revenue replacement line that we would like to be able to obligate fully tonight. In addition to that, the city council also, during the initial rollout of ARPA and SLORF, set aside approximately $1.8 million for the wastewater interceptor project, which we've also partnered with RIA for the large $7 million plus grant from the state of South Carolina's Rural Infrastructure Authority to do the interceptor lines throughout the city. The good news is when we went out to bid for those, we had a very competitive bid process, and we opened those bids right before the storm occurred, and the low bidder was significantly lower than we anticipated, and so that freed up additional funds to be used elsewhere in the city. But because that was obligated under that $1.8 million, when you look at the rules and SLORF under the Treasury, it's very tight. Outside of that standard deduction of $10 million, you can use it for water infrastructure, for wastewater infrastructure, for certain employee premium pays, and then you can also use it for certain types of economic development and tourism incentives. Kelly Zier, our city attorney, Linda Williamson, our finance director, J.D. McCauley, and I spent numerous hours calling through the Treasury sites and looking through those documents, and also participating in webinars. And our goal remains unchanged, which is we want to fully obligate all of the SLRF and ARPA funds that we've received from the federal government. We don't ever want to give any of it back because of the results of a federal audit that says, hey, you shouldn't have spent your money in this way. So we want to be very conservative, especially with the scrape that we did out of the wastewater interceptor line, to be very judicious about how we are going to spend that money. So with that, if you take a look at the two bins, you've got the revenue replacement bin, and you'll see there in Appendix A before you in our council packets, or your council packets, we're going to be able to do two broad things with the revenue replacement dollars. The first thing we're going to be able to do is fund the public safety COPS grant equipment. We had talked about this during the budget cycle, that we had a late-breaking receipt of information about the COPS grant, which allows for 3 officers to be brought onto the city force. Chief Johnson has taken through those 3 officers out of Hyde to stand up his CAT team. And so this would be a way to go ahead and fund that in a more long-term manner, and then be able to backfill those shift officers on the line shifts that he's pulled those officers from. It's very tight to do that with the budget that we have, but we figured out a way to do the salary portion, but we did not have a way to do it with the equipment. So 3 police vehicles, the bunker gear, the guns, all the things that go along with fully equipping a public safety officer gets a little pricey. So what we've done here with the first ask here, with a not to exceed cost of $400,000, is the 3 vehicles and all equipment for those COPS grant officers. That then allows us to potentially put them into the budget, or will allow us to put them in the budget for fiscal year 25. The other thing we're going to do is add 1 more vehicle, which will allow us to buy a Dodge Durango. Those are lower cost than the Tahoes, and part of that is the reason for the platform itself, and part of that is the reason that the SRO vehicles that are supporting the school resource officers at our schools don't require the cage, the dash cam, video. There's a lot less that has to go into that vehicle than in one of our patrol Chevy Tahoes. So we're able to do that for a lower cost. So we can buy a Dodge Durango with this ARPA money and then free up one of the 2 Tahoes that are currently working with SROs out for the road detail. So that buys us some money outside of the FY25 budget, that instead of buying a Tahoe in 25, I can buy a Durango now and free up a very new 1-year-old Tahoe to put back on the road. And that will give us the breathing room to do the salaries for the 3 officers, because those are largely defrayed in the first year by the grant. And it will also give us some wiggle room to potentially fund things we had to cut in the budget, to include animal control, which also falls in the public safety domain. So that's the first thing that we're asking you to fund in the revenue replacement. The second thing we're asking you to fund, and I know Councilwoman Carpenter and Councilwoman McCauley are both involved in the selection committees for playground equipment for Creighton Park. So that would allow us to replace what's out there now. We had already had a plan. It's already in Capital Project Sales Tax 5 as a voter referendum item, and I'm glad that referendum passed. But this would allow us to accelerate that process. And I think we've already seen, even before the storm occurred, that equipment was rusting pretty significantly, to the point that we didn't feel great about kids playing on that and not getting nicked up. So this would allow us to at least put a good-sized playground set, or series of sets, in that park, and we set a not to exceed cap of $350,000 on that. And so you'll notice when you add those numbers up, that's more than what's left in the revenue replacement. So what we're going to do is use the capital projects fund as the catcher's mitt to absorb any cost overruns. But our first and foremost priority there is to fully exhaust all of ARPA. We don't want to underspend ARPA. We want to overspend it so we can go into the next fund. So that's what we're going to do, or proposing to do, with the revenue replacement line. Then you have the much more restrictive wastewater line, and with that, we're going to do 2 things. So we're doing 4 things total. So under that line, we're going to do, per guidance that I received from the mayor and city council members, they really wanted to do a thank you to our city employees for all the work they've been doing on Hurricane Helene efforts, and we've had them out there 6 or 7 days a week working a number of different shifts to make things happen. And so ultimately, we're able to do very similar to the COVID premium pay that we did with the first round of ARPA, to be able to do a very similar premium pay for our city employees to not to exceed $1,500 amount for employees. We accepted certain city employees. That includes the city council would not receive that premium pay. The judiciary would not receive that premium pay. The judges and contract employees would not receive that premium pay. But all their city employees would receive at least some level, to include the part-timers, but the majority of employees would receive the $1,500 benefit. Then the next thing that comes under that line would be the water meter project. So we have an automated water meter line that's listed in CPST 5 to the just under $3 million is what's set aside in that capital project sales tax. And that's going to allow us to take older neighborhoods and older water meters that we're doing it manually. Actually, I saw one of our utilities workers out there today on a golf cart. You drive around and pulling like it's a very labor-intensive process to go check water meters. All the newer neighborhoods that are in town have these automated meter readings where they just drive through and they just catch it wirelessly and off they go. But all these older neighborhoods, Hampton Hills and Palm Heights and a number of other ones that are built in 1950s, 60s, and 70s do not have these automated meter readers. So this would allow us to get a head start on that project. And we have not picked which neighborhood it's going to be yet. I'm going to defer to James Sutton and the utilities crews to tell us where the best place to start is. But that would allow us to move roughly $400,000 into that project. And any overruns we have would go into the general fund this year in our contingency. So again, whatever one water meter costs, we're going to buy the maximum number plus one, so we fully exhaust the ARPA line and allow us to get moving on those things. So ultimately, what the city staff and what I'm asking for tonight through this ARPA, and this should be the last ARPA request that you have before you, you should expect from me a closeout report of what we've done with ARPA, but this will be my last formal request to the city council saying this is how we are proposing that the city council would allocate these funds for ARPA for those four things. So again, that's for public safety, cops grant equipment, it's for the park, it's for the water meters, and it's for employee premium pay. Subject to your questions.
And because this is a resolution, you won't have to say that again.
Yes, sir.
Are there any citizen comments? Council discussion, any questions for Jim? Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is just about, oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Pat.
Is all the water meters in North Augusta, somebody has to come manually, every water meter in
the older ones.
city?
The old
The older ones. So new neighborhoods, Councilman, like in Rushing Waters or Austin Heights, you know, those kinds of neighborhoods do not require the manual interface. But I watched one of our employees today on West and West Forest.
Yeah,
He's
they come-
physically getting out with a whole thing
Yeah,
and checking that out. And so anything we can do to automate those processes as opposed to having to put a person on the ground at every single house on that street really will save us a lot of time.
That's what I told my husband. I said, with all this modern technology, we still walking around looking at the meter with so good.
Now I can touch on that point because my house is one of those houses, and they've had to come to the door to tell me to cut back the bush to where the water meter is. So that's just a small example of inefficiency that's definitely happening. And then, did you want to go, or do you? Okay, I was just going to touch on Creighton Park. I'm really excited to see this in here. I know that Creighton Park has been passed over for multiple budget rounds, and as you said, prior to the hurricane, it was already in bad condition to the point that my own son wanted to come to Power Hour and talk about how rusty and dangerous that it was. So it is in a very good need, and in the location that it is in, it's our hope that it becomes a really great downtown park and a park that hopefully people will eat and then go hang out at and all those good things. But yes, so I'm excited for that one.
So will some of these items free up some money for the capital sales tax 5 that could be diverted for something else?
If it's existing within the capital project sales tax 5 line, yes. But I think what you're going to see, Councilman, is that under capital project sales tax 4, you make a good faith effort on how much things are going to cost. And invariably, those things are going to be more expensive. So by offloading some things out of CPST 5 early, that gives us more breathing room to do either that project or other projects.
Perfect, thanks.
Well, I had this is not a question, just a little thing. I had a granny call me today, said, kids miss playing at the park on Lake Avenue. So I responded, I know they do, but tell them to wait and see what's coming.
Any other council discussion? All right, hearing none, let's ask for a vote. All in favor? That's unanimous. Fantastic. Thank you for Edwards, the staff, Jim, everybody for the hard work on that. Okay, item 10, an administration resolution number 2024-54, authorizing the city of North Augusta to enter into a professional services contract with Placer Labs, Inc. to perform services for the delivery of data analytics in support of economic development and tourism. Do you have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
All right, Ms. McCauley, is there a second? All right, Ms. Carpenter, thank you. I'm assuming,
Mr. McCauley is going to take a swing at this one, so over to you, JD.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is a data resource for us, Placer AI. What it does is it helps us become more strategic in how we count who comes and who goes in our city and how they do business, where they're coming from, where they're going to. We used this in our presentation earlier this year at the Chamber event, Chamber breakfast, and we also use it for things like tracking how many people came to JOJ, how many people come to Peach Jam, for example. We for this year for Jack Lantern Jubilee on Friday we had about 8,700 people, and on Saturday about 19,000. So I thought that was pretty good for a hurricane event. But with your approval tonight, we are going to renew that contract and keep using those metrics. Again, it's a little bit better than counting license plates and using drone footage and trying to count grids. So this is a little more strategic and technical. So that's all I have.
How many people were on Friday?
Friday they say 8,700, and Saturday is 19,000.
amazing. All right.
Well, we had a good crowd also at the Dave Matthews tribute. Do you know how many we had that night?
I do not have.
That was one of the most crowded I've ever seen.
I don't have that number in front of me, but we can get
Yeah,
that with this renewal. We can get that.
That whole amphitheater was almost packed.
I didn't know you were a Dave Matthews
Oh,
fan.
well, I'm not. I just went.
Okay.
She's an outdoor event person.
I know you're a Bruno Mars fan. You out there cutting
Support
rugs.
what our tourism are doing.
Yeah, I know. I love it. I love it.
So we're able to map out. Go ahead.
So we've been using this or a version of this for about a year, or this is
We've
more
been using
advanced?
this product for a year. And this
Okay.
is just the renewal.
Renewal. Okay.
All right. Are there any citizen comments? Any other council discussion? All right, I'm going to ask for a vote. All in favor? And that is unanimous. Thank you very much. Okay. Administrative reports. Update Hurricane Helene recovery efforts.
While the team's getting our slides together, what I would like to say to the council and for our citizens watching, we're going to do a much more comprehensive update tomorrow evening at Victory Baptist Church at 6 o'clock. So I'm going to give a very brief update this evening, but I'll have a more in-depth briefing scheduled for tomorrow, which will cover a lot of the frequently asked questions. Where are we going? What neighborhoods are next? All those kinds of things. We're going to be able to talk in great detail, so I don't want to spoil the update for tonight. So I'll just go ahead and go through some of the legacy products and just show you some things we're doing right now. So next slide, please. No changes to our lines of effort. Next slide. No changes to our debris removal. Next slide. And again, just as a reminder, different trucks have different capabilities. So just because an SCDOT or a city contracted truck or a city truck may be on a street, the amount of debris they can get and the size of the debris they can pick up is variable. It's not a set line. Next slide. No changes to the staff guidance. I also did want to say one thing here, which is I've seen some folks commenting on Facebook about, hey, we're going to stop picking up after the 100% FEMA reimbursement. The answer is no. We're going to continue to work until the job is done. What we're trying to do is maximize the amount of FEMA reimbursement we can get, and we're also trying to maximize the volume, cubic yards of debris that can be picked up in the first 90 days. But we are not going to quit at an arbitrary date set by FEMA. We recognize that we've got a beautiful city and we want to maintain it that way, and so we're going to continue to press and get everything done that needs to get done. Next slide, please. So again, we have multiple road runners, so SCDOT and the city are the two major players right now inside the city limits, and this map is actually listed on the city website. And if you go to the city website, there's a big red banner on the very top that shows Hurricane Helene information, and this map is posted on there, and you can zoom in to your heart's content on that product on the city webpage, so you can see if your street is a city street or if it's an SCDOT street and see where it is from there. Next slide. So again, just an example of different rates of pickup based on, hey, here's right by North Augusta High School. And you got SCDOT and city crews or city contract crews working all in that same neighborhood. So right now I can tell you Lodgepole is largely done. I think there's some, like a root ball that's still out there. And then even going down Loblolly, I think there's still root ball and some larger items on there, but they got a first pass through city crews early on. And other streets in that neighborhood have not been touched yet by SCDOT, but I know that's coming. Next slide. And again, here's another example of county and city roads. So you've got Savannah Barony proper, the blue roads there are city roads, and then the yellow roads from the entrance of Savannah Barony to the West Martin Town Road entrance there, that's county. We're coordinating with the county, and we're going to make sure that's picked up because it makes sense to have all of that done in one shot. But that's just letting you know, like, hey, there are different portions of different roads that are owned by different organizations. But I would tell you that the city, if you're a city resident, regardless of whether it's SCDOT or a county road or a city road, you know, we're tracking those roads, and we're going to continue to make sure that those are serviced here inside the city limits. Next slide. So we talked about this again. This is very broad stroke. You can see there, starting there at Savannah Barony, we've already had crews go through Savannah Barony and through Chanticleer, and now we've got a pretty good density of crews in the Rapids. And we've also got a density of crews starting to work in Hammond Hills on the city streets that are in Hammond Hills, which aren't very many, but I would tell you just the size of the debris on those is pretty extensive. I did drive through today and did a reconnaissance with some of our other assets, and those are going to take some time to get through. The Rapids, much like Savannah Barony, has debris all throughout that site, all throughout that neighborhood, so it's going to take them a while. And I'll talk through tomorrow where the next arrow is going. Next slide. So again, just vegetative debris. I've seen debris piles get passed over both by SCDOT and also by our SDR crews because they had mixed garbage in there. They had metal swing sets or wooden fences or whatever else. If it's not coming off a tree and it's not vegetative in nature, they will not pick it up. That's not the way the FEMA rules work, and so strictly vegetative debris is what's getting removed, you know, from those roadways and the rights of way. Next slide.
Hold on. Like if you come to a house and they've got their fence on top of their debris, you know, some people are doing that. So what happens? They
get past fence off.
They get off and just
they pass it. I looked at a house today that had a fence laying on top of it, and the crews didn't touch it.
okay. Well, we might need to put that. Of course, if anybody's hearing tonight, but something to say if you've got that, get it off.
I'll show some pictures tomorrow, Councilman, that'll show exactly what I'm talking about. Next slide. All right, so I'll talk more in depth tomorrow, but just to let you all know, as city council members, city crews, Jason Sykes with his sanitation crews, and also Tom Zeser's streets and drainage crew are working exclusively right now at Exit 5. So they're working in the Walnut Lane neighborhood. I understand there's a lot of debris on Walnut Lane proper, especially as you get out towards Five Notch Road. Our crews aren't going to work that yet. They're working inside the neighborhood itself, north of Walnut Lane. So Butler's Mill area is what they're focused on right now. And I'm going to leave Jason and his team up there probably all week working that neighborhood. And so that's where all the city crews are right now. They're not spread out across other areas. SDR crews are spread out through some other neighborhoods. But right now, all of our city folks are working there at Exit 5. Next slide, please. So just as a reminder for our citizens, and I've certainly used this aspect as, you know, using with my old pickup truck and taking neighbors' debris out if I can. Ultimately, you know, if you want to accelerate the process or get things out of your own yard, that's certainly something you can do, and it doesn't cost you anything if you're a Aiken County resident and you got a driver's license that shows you got an Aiken County address. You can take it to the Barton CMD landfill, and they'll take your stuff. Next slide. Same. So again, that's kind of in the ballpark behind Aiken Tech, and it shows you just different routes. It's about 11 miles, road miles from City Hall to get there. Next slide. Again, we'll talk this a little more in depth tomorrow, but this isn't a change to the slide, and we are tracking a lot of the trees, and we are keeping a roster of all trees that are on city property that are leaning over private property, and we have basically a two-tier list, and tier 1 is life, health, safety. We think we've got a leaning tree that's a problem, and so we're going to have our on-contract Tree contractor R&R start to get after those trees, and they'll start that next week. And then other trees, we'll take them as they come. Next slide. No change to the end state. So obviously we're greened up on power restoration, and by that, and I know Scott Neely from Dominion's here, that's from Dominion's perspective of getting it to the meter, but there are certainly houses that may still be struggling with power because of what's happening on their property. That's not a Dominion problem to solve. That's the homeowner and their electrician to solve, to be able to connect it to Dominion connection. Road hazards were still ongoing. Road debris is ongoing. Recreational facilities and city parks are ongoing. City facility repairs. We actually had folks from MASC's insurance agency here last week for several days going through a lot of our claims, and some of those will probably be acted upon, some of those will not. But we'll continue to work those and try to get that done. And Greenway passable from end to end, that's currently being worked. Next slide. So again, just like to highlight that we're going to be doing a community engagement meeting, which is really going to be all things debris. So ultimately, we've had a few of these engagement meetings at other churches. We've done one at Second Providence. We did one at True North. And we went through kind of a big picture of what's going on in the city. Tomorrow night's engagement at Victory Baptist Church is strictly for Hurricane Helene, debris pickup, hurricane items, whatever you want to talk about. So we won't be talking about public safety CAT team. We won't be talking about capital project sales tax or other projects that we have been doing in previous engagement. Tomorrow night is strictly debris. I would encourage any of our citizens that want to come and get a shot to ask a very specific question. We'll be there to answer the question, at least I'll be. So just wanted to pass it along, and subject to your questions, I believe that's all I have for this evening for debris pickup. Next slide.
A couple of things from Pat. Where Victory Baptist has got a lot of entrances.
We'll have the signs.
We'll have signs so
Main
people know, because I don't
Randy
know
can
myself
respond.
with art. And then number two, this is, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but on the refund from FEMA, all right, the big trucks is coming through, the big black ones. Who paid? Is that from Aiken County being paid? And I don't quite understand how we're reimbursed from FEMA.
The answer is it depends. So I would tell you that I'm not tracking from a fiscal perspective what SCDOT is doing, because SCDOT has a relationship with the federal government and FEMA to do reimbursement to their.
And that's the
crews.
big black trailers we're seeing.
They could be both.
They could be either.
SNR has black ones.
Don't do that.
So SCDOT has about 75% of the road network in our city. So there's good and bad to that. The good news is we have no cash outlay. There's no fiscal outlay to deal with those crews. But that's an influence operation. We ask SCDOT to focus on areas, but we're not able to direct them. I can't go to a crew and say, hey, come off this job and go to this job here.
Right.
That's SCDOT's ability to do that. And they also make their own determination about what roads are most important based on their analysis of the roadways. And they have different priorities than we do. And then ultimately with the city crews, what FEMA will be able to reimburse for us is we account and log all of the hours that our city personnel are doing. So for example, Jason's got 2 dedicated teams out of the sanitation department. That's all they're doing is yard debris. So all their normal hours and all their overtime, we're paying that outright, but we're requesting FEMA to reimburse that.
All right, so the city trucks and things is being reimbursed
Correct.
from FEMA, not these other groups is here.
The SDR teams
I
that
mean,
are
not
working,
to us.
the SDR teams that are working the city roads are also being paid or will be paid by the city and be reimbursed by FEMA.
FEMA, okay.
Good question. Any other questions for Jim? Okay, we're at item 12 now, citizen comments. This is presentation, communications, recognition of visitors. This time, citizens may speak to mayor and council regarding matters not listed on the agenda. Are there any folks out there that need to come in front of us at this time? Okay, I'm just going to make 4 reminders. Christmas tree lighting, December 3rd from 5 to 7 p.m. If you went to the Explore North Augusta website, it's listed under events. So go ahead and put that on your calendar. This Thursday is Third Thursday for North Augusta Forward event, Downtown Merchants. And then on Friday is Pink Friday. You know what that is?
Yes, Pink Friday is Black Friday, but a week in advance, basically. But it's really encouraging people to go shop locally before they go shop in the bigger box stores on Black Friday. So it's more of a push to shop smaller and local before the Black Friday event.
I like it. And then the Lions Christmas Parade's December the 8th at 3 p.m. and we're hoping it'll be nice weather so we can participate ourselves. And then there, you want to say anything about Palmetto Peach?
I was gonna say, so we do have Palmetto Peach coming. It is happening, even though it doesn't look like it probably is with all the debris. But no, the route is going to be good. So just expect some road closures. We'll be making those announcements the week of as we see progress. But the half marathon, 10K, and 5K is happening, and we are anticipating about 1,800 participants total for that event. So we're very excited about that. And there are that same weekend that is Black Friday for downtown and all other businesses. And Tinseltown is on that Saturday as well. A lot of events going on downtown.
All right. Ms. McGee, anything for you for the good order? Ms. Pat?
No, just a couple of statements.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know if any of you, and I'm sure you have, at Lions Field, you walk in, and was this beautiful tree. Every child climbed that tree every football game. It's gone.
Right there.
It just,
Gate.
other night, my heart broke. I said, oh, my stars. But another thing, the Christmas tree did not go. So I thought, goodness, our one little tree went down. So that was a blessing. Our Christmas tree, and it looked a lot weaker than that one at Lions Field. But I just think those were two trees that have been around, especially that one here at Calhoun Park. But the one at Lions Field, we've got to get that. Now, I won't be around when it's gone, but get it replanted.
All right, Mr. Toole, anything for you? Mr. Buck? Yes, sir. Oh, you're good. Okay. Andy, you giving some